young child in the background is got a little, like, what would you call it? Like a trim carpenter's hammer, a very lightweight hammer, or maybe one of those hammers you use at home to hang picture frames or whatnot. And he's beating the crap out of just about every rock he can find. Like he's got a 10-pound sledgehammer in his hand. Most of them rocks from the day. Takes away from the ambiance a bit. I'm just glad he's here. So, yeah, something happened to the stream. I apologize. It just kind of dropped out. Things happen, I guess. But, so I was going to tell a story about, we were talking about how we have a hot shower tonight. So we're going to likely drop the stream off here in a little bit. And we're going to eat us a little dinner and finish watching the sunset here maybe a little bit. And let me get y'all back over there on that wash on that mountain. I don't know. I wish I had. YouTube's different than Twitch. In Twitch, I would see all the comments. Well, we couldn't get Twitch to work, but we got two loons right here. Just hanging out down here right there by the yellow. So I can get y'all focused in on it. Yeah. They've been kind of swimming all around. They're not very talkative. On our lake, when we get loons on the lake, they just chat it up. Of course, the wind's blowing away from us, so just might not be able to hear them. Beautiful birds, so. Anyway, hot showers. So, we travel hacked Hawaii. Specifically, I mean, we kind of travel hacked Hawaii twice, but we specifically travel hacked Maui in February of 2023. And we actually went to Hawaii for a month in February of 2022. And we went to Maui and Big Island and Oahu. And we learned a lot. We did it a little more traditional. We actually camped and camped in a tent for 80% of it, and we did a little bit of resort, and we did a little bit of hotel, and a little bit of hostel, and then we even stayed the night at, we have a family member that lives on Oahu. We stayed the night at their house, but which was kind of cool. I didn't realize Hawaii had mosquitoes until we got up in there, because we're either always way up, at like Hawaii volcanoes, or even like Haleakala. We're always at either really high elevation or you're down on the beach. And neither one of those two did you ever see a mosquito. But man, was it Long Beach? No. Oh, it escapes me. The sign is on the beach, or maybe the sign was Aloha on the beach. I can't remember. Anyways, a really famous beach down there. I want to say that, like, the surfers, they all name the breaks, and it's like Mavericks, and then the Wall, and then some, I don't know, but anyway. Anyway, they live just up the mountain from that beach, maybe 600 feet up. And at that altitude, there's mosquitoes. And I was shocked. But, so anyway, in Hawaii, travel hacking it in 2023, we'll go into details about all the stuff, but, one of the things we learned was we loved Lahaina. And so we basically lived within 10 minutes of Lahaina for 10 days. And our central hub was the Olawalu campground, and I absolutely love that place. A little bit pricey, but not bad. Maybe $40 a night, but I mean for Hawaii, like not bad at all. And so one of there's a few really cool things about it, and I'm sure it's not that way now because they were kind of like Hawaii was kind of actively kind of cracking down on people doing what we were doing. It wasn't illegal; it was perfectly legal, but they were just shutting down the accesses. But Maui has beach access everywhere, and they have you know Oahu has a huge homeless problem, and Maui, I wouldn't say it's a very big homeless problem, but it's noticeable. And the climate's so good there that there's people that are just living on the beaches indefinitely for years. They get in trouble on one beach, they just pick up and move to another beach. And they had cars in disrepair, and they're drug addicts, or they're whatever. There were a few that did made that life choice, and we met a guy that ran a kayak business. Taking people out on kayak tours. He had like 36 kayaks and just lived on the beach, and was making bank. You know, I don't know, $3,000-4,000 a day, taking people out on kayaks off the cruise ships and whatever else, and didn't have a home. It was amazing, but it was his lifestyle choice. But and he was not a vagrant. Like, I mean, he didn't have like a Taj Mahal, but he had like he was kind of living on the side of the road in uh, a makeshift, like almost like what you would envision a shipwreck shelter. He had driftwood, and he had these the trees that were like, I don't know what type of tree they were, but they were, the trees, not the shrubs, but like the trees that grow right there by the ocean. They only get to be about 4 or 5 foot tall, but they kind of branch out over the ocean. Their branches are 2 or 3 inches in diameter, probably 3 or 4 inches in diameter, enough to be structured, but not enough to um, be like a real tall 40-foot tree. Well, he had taken driftwood and kind of made himself a little home, you know, 200 square feet tops, maybe 150 square feet. And he had like it wasn't a tarp because it was yellow. I don't know what it was, but some sort of roofing material that kind of covered it, and that was his house. He had like kind of this little encampment on this little piece of Hawaii that nobody, it's kind of like people that live under a bridge that is never used, or nobody goes down there. Is it really hurting anybody? I mean, if they're making trash and whatever else, and there's feces and excrement or whatever, I get it, yeah. But this guy wasn't that way. There was plenty of them that were. Anyway, um, but there were, as we were there, those 10 days, I think they closed down access like with K rails to probably 10 different beaches. And luckily for us, it only affected us on the last day. The beach that we were staying on, they closed down, but we just moved down one beach. It wasn't that big a deal. And by closed down, I mean they didn't post anything. They didn't say it was illegal. They didn't do anything else. They just came in with bulldozers and big old concrete barrier like K rails and just blocked it off so you couldn't drive in there anymore. And any of the homeless that was in there, that had vehicles in there, they just brought tow trucks in and picked them up and pulled them out to the highway and put them on the side of the highway. And but that particular beach was really, really good for us because, and I say beach, it was a parking lot at a beach. But in Hawaii, you could not camp, but you could like van camp, just pull up and park and put a fishing rod in and fish all night, and you're perfectly legal. There's nothing against the rules. And we actually fished because we fish. But But a lot of the homeless kind of use it to their advantage, and they'd have a fishing rod there, and they'd tie a weight to it, and they'd throw the line out in the water, and they'd say they're fishing, and there wasn't anything the law could do about it. So they were kind of bending the rules. But for us, it was even better because Olawalu had a day use pass that allowed you to use their toilets and their showers and their picnic areas and all this stuff for $20 a day. So we could sleep in our van in the parking lot at the beach and walk 200 feet, maybe not even that, 150 feet along the beach, and then just turn up and we were in Olawalu campground. And one of my favorite things about that campground, I mean, it was a great campground. It just, I mean, they had, you could camp in tents, you could van camp in their parking lot. They had gated entry, uh, Wi-Fi, all the normal stuff. But they also had like all these little tent Kwanzaa hut type things that people rented, and they had cabins, and they had so on. I mean, the price increments went up, right? But so, but their showers were all outdoor showers. They were like cedar showers, and they, and they were big enough. A husband and wife could take a shower in it, and they were unlimited hot water.
Dinner's ready.
Oh, dinner's ready. And they had like Renai hot water heaters on them, and they didn't care. They're just like, run it, whatever. So you could sit there in Hawaii, take a shower, and just look up at the stars over Hawaii, listen to the whale, because you're only about 150 yards from the beach. If not even that, you're maybe 100 yards from the beach. Listening to the whales call, because in February there's a lot of whales out there, and splash and whatever else, and listening to the waves just coming in over and over and over. It's like some of these memories are just hard to beat. Hard to beat. But that was a great trip. Travel hacked Maui, flights, everything. I think we were there 10 days, $1,900, 3 people. Yeah, you can't beat that. So, what I'm gonna do, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna let y'all sit here peacefully, and I'm gonna go grab my dinner. And then we'll come back and we'll say our goodbyes, and that'll be the night. And tomorrow we'll do a little bit of Banff and prepare to start moving on to Jasper. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I hope the camera gives y'all the view. Here, let's just get a wide angle. I hope the camera gives you the view that it's given us. My gosh. These mountains are incredible.